Hello. And now the government has resorted to hacking. I think the Ugandan government is too late to the party because the damage has already been done in that people have already got the message, people have already gotten their national IDs, and on January the 14th are ready to go and vote. Now, for those of you who don't understand what is going on at the moment, is that the government of Uganda has been trying to penetrate and hack into pro-NUP or pro-Bobi Wine or pro-Honorable Kyagulanyi Facebook pages as well as YouTube channels. Last week, the government, through its other propaganda arm known as the Uganda Communications Commission, that regulates each and every piece of information that has to deal with opposition, but any information that has to deal with the NRM or that has to deal with the ruling party is always given a free pass. So that the role of the UCC, of course, is to regulate what each and every opposition leader has to say. Now, it came out last week and wrote to Google to close 14 YouTube channels, and also they wrote to Facebook to close 14 Facebook pages. Now, Google replied and told them to go to court. They knew that they wouldn't go to court, given the fact that NUP or Honorable Kyagulanyi is one of the people now who is amongst the best lawyers in the country. And some of these lawyers are not just supporting Kyagulanyi, but it's just because they are standing for what is true, for freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And that's why the government of Uganda refused to go to court. So having known that they would fail to win the court order, so that they would present it to Google to take down all these pages, so what they resorted to is hacking. Now, for those of you who do not come from Uganda, the reason as to why Museveni is in a lot of fear today, it is because of social media. It is because of Facebook. As we speak today, there are over 7 million users of the internet. These people have different YouTube channels, they have different Twitter handles, as well as Facebook pages. And ever since Honorable Kyagulanyi came on the scene, he has actually utilized this medium so well, because he was blocked from traditional media, that is TV, radio, and newspapers, because the government actually controls these medias through intimidation, and so on and so forth. So Honorable Kyagulanyi used the platform, and then people heard his message and people accepted him, and that's why we saw too many channels and saw so many people coming out to spread the message of freedom and the message of democracy in Uganda. Now, of course, as a result, when Kyagulanyi came on scene, the government realized that it had to deal with social media. It introduced the social media tax as well as the OTT tax that Bobi Wine protested. But in the end, we still had a social media tax imposed on us one way or the other by the government in order to curtail the information that is being spread, because they thought that by putting a tax, very few people will actually use the internet or they will use social media. But what happened is the number of users increased, but the number of revenue the government was getting reduced, because people used VPN to bypass all these hurdles that the government had put in place. Now, fast forward to 2020, the government has changed in its tactics. For example, it is now starting to hack people's pages, because they knew they wouldn't get a court order, because no court would issue an order for them. So they have now started hacking into people's pages. A platform I work for called Echoto International, 2 weeks back it was hacked and taken off the face of the internet. That's a Facebook page. It was hacked and taken off. A few weeks before Echoto was hacked, they hacked Bobi Wine's page known as Ghetto Media, known as Ghetto TV. It was taken down and deleted, nowhere to be seen on the face of the internet and Facebook. Now today, 2 more pages have been taken down. That is Map Media, and the other page is known as Ghetto Media. Ghetto TV or Ghetto Media, this is the second time they are hacking them and deleting their page completely from the face of the internet. That is what the government has now resorted to. Now, This is not new. The government has been doing this. We all understand. For example, the Wall Street Journal did some investigative reporting a few months. Sorry, I think it was around last year, and it wrote an article about how the government solicited the help of the Chinese company known as Huawei to help it in espionage, to help it in hacking people's phones, especially people in the opposition. And this wasn't the first time, by the way. The government of Uganda has been hacking and spying on the people of Uganda. In 2012, during the FOC campaign, or the Walk to Work campaign, the government solicited the help of a UK company known as I think it's known as Gamma, a company known as Gamma, to buy some sort of software known as FinFair in order to help it to install malware that they could use to track opposition candidates and so on and so forth, in an operation known as Operation Funga Macho. I'll come and discuss Operation Funga Macho in some episode later and show you how the government was using this operation to track down the opposition. But today, this is the highest level. This is much higher. Than it's done on a higher level than Operation Funga Macho, whereby here the government enlisted Huawei. We all know what Huawei is, and it's one of the companies that has been leading in the distribution of 5G equipment around the world. Countries like United States of America, the UK, European Union, and other countries have turned down Huawei from distributing them with this equipment as a result of fear of espionage and things of that sort. So according to the Wall Street Journal, they said when they interviewed Honorable Kyagulanyi, it is said that his WhatsApp was bugged, and they hacked into his WhatsApp phone, and they went into his group known as Firebase Crew and started to look for messages in there. Bobi Wine is also well aware that he's being followed, he's being tracked, they are listening to his conversations and things of that sort. For those of you who didn't watch that documentary or who didn't read that article, you should go back and read that article and understand how the Chinese government is actually how the Chinese company Huawei is actually working with the Ugandan government in order to eavesdrop, in order to hack, and in order to make sure that they reduce they reduce on the noise that people on social media are making about the government. But I think it is a little too late. It is just 3 weeks to the election. If these people were serious, they should have done this a long time ago. But now they have failed to, tear gas has refused to work, intimidation has not worked, killing people has failed, buying supporters of NUP. He has bought. Museveni, I've never seen it. I don't know where you guys are watching from, but in Uganda, we have a president who buys supporters. When you go to support him, he promises you, Mayanja, I'm going to give you a position here and here. Oh, I'm going to give you such and such an amount of money. They buy, they buy supporters. But for Honorable Kyagulanyi, last week he was in the western part of Uganda and people were actually giving him money to run against the dictator. But here, if you support the opposition, Museveni will buy you off and he will make sure that he gives you a position. Or if the position is not there, he will make sure that he creates one for you. And in the end, the only person who has suffered out of this is the local Ugandan, who is a taxpayer, and the bill is charged on him in forms of taxes in one way or the other. So the government has failed in terms of buying, and it has also failed in terms of beating people up, intimidation, killing people, and now the only thing that is left in their toolbox is hacking. And with hacking, they couldn't even do it by themselves. That is how incompetent our government is. So they had to solicit the help of Huawei, a Chinese company, in order to help them to hack into a mere Facebook page. Just a Facebook page. They couldn't even hack into a Facebook page on their own. So they had to solicit the help of these Huawei guys. According to the Wall Street Journal, we understand that Huawei is one of the companies that actually, of which we all know, helped the government of Uganda to install cameras everywhere. And these cameras, they only see opposition supporters. They never see NRM supporters. But one wonders, where would they find the NRM supporters? Because there are no NRM supporters where these cameras are installed. All of these cameras are installed in places because Museveni says that he has the support. But the supporters of NRM are not there. When the riots happened on November 18th, the NRM cameras never saw any NRM guy committing a crime. Even their cameras in one of the busiest places known as Mini Price, there was an NRM car that went and knocked opposition supporters and killed lots of people and broke their legs. But the camera didn't see that. The camera did not see. But when a policeman was being attacked, the cameras were all there. When a young gentleman known as Warungama, who was a garage guy who was killed by an LD officer in broad daylight where there were so many cameras in the area, an NRM camera did not see those things. And these cameras are supplied by the same company known as what? Huawei. Before they release the footage, they always cut it out. When an NUP supporter known as Rita Nabukenya was knocked down last year, the cameras didn't see anything. By that time, they were off. That's what they said. The spokesperson, they said that the cameras were tired. And I'm not making this up. The police spokesperson in Uganda, he said that the cameras were tired. Does it come as a surprise? These cameras were bought from China, and when they do something wrong, the police officers and the government, they edit it out, and then they give us a different version. That is why you see they want to shut social media down. They want to shut these pages down because these pages are recording in real time, and all this information stays on these Facebook pages forever and ever and ever. So what these people are trying to do is to erase evidence. All of these pages, they are trying to erase evidence of it. So what people should do is make sure that you back up all of these videos if you can. Please back it up. Echoto Media, Ghetto Media, Ghetto TV, everyone, make sure you back up these videos, the ones you're capturing at the moment, as much as you can. Because what these people are trying to do is to erase evidence, is to erase that nothing like this ever happened in our history. Like nothing like this has ever happened in Museveni's reign in one way or the other. So we all understand that the government uses cameras to spy on people. Secondly, if the cameras do not work, of course, they use something known as spyware or malware. Even this was also employed in Operation Fungamacho. In Operation Fungamacho, the government of Uganda, this was directly supervised by Museveni in 2012, Operation Fungamacho, where they hired a British company to supply it with software that can be able to track and listen onto opposition supporters' phones in one way or the other. Now, in Operation, I will come and explain what Operation Fungamacho was, because there is a report that was written about it that I was reading before I came to this to do this episode. But in Operation Fungamacho, what these people did was they would look for an opposition politician or someone who is broadcasting these things, and they get a friend of yours and they tell him, you take this, get your friend's phone, the target, and then install this malware or this small software, or click on this link. The software will embed itself and it will install itself in the phone or in the computer or any gadget. Now, when it installs itself, they have everything they need from that phone. They can listen on your phone even when you're not, even if it's not powered on. They can see the pictures you're taking. They can see the images you're taking and all this kind of thing. Not only do they do that, but they can, in Operation Fungamacho, the other thing that they used to do was they would go to hotels where opposition candidates used to sleep and stay, and they would bag the entire hotel. They would put listening devices in lights, in telephones, behind the cupboards and things of that sort. In Operation Fungamacho, this is all documented and it is recorded. I've just seen the report on the internet. And not only would they do that, but they would also make sure that they recruit as many people as possible, around these opposition politicians, and make sure that they get information from them in one way or the other. But of course, also some of those tactics have been employed within this operation with Huawei, as well as by the Uganda Police Force in conjunction with the CMI, UCC, as well as the Chinese company known as Huawei. So if you're holding a Huawei phone and maybe you use the Huawei phone, you have to be extra careful on how you handle your phone. Secondly, do not give your phone, if you know that you are part of these pages, do not give your phone or your devices, do not give access to anyone except yourself or anyone, or maybe someone else that you trust so much. But don't give your device, do not give your computer, do not give your phone, do not let anyone come near your computer or your phone. Now, the rate of hacking is becoming so rampant in the country today that recently we saw mobile money. There was a lot of money that was taken as a result of hackers attacking mobile money. But we all never got a report about what happened. The billions of shillings that were stolen. What should we now think? Who is actually hacking these telecommunication companies and stealing millions? If someone can go after a mere Facebook page, why wouldn't he go after a telecommunication company that is making over 1.7 trillion, or that is transacting over 1.7 trillion shillings per year? That is MTN. So why wouldn't they go there and get at least 0.5% of that money? So especially in a time when you're very broke. And then afterwards you would expel or you would deport the MTN CEO. Then afterwards you bring him back. Really interesting, isn't it? So these people are not only targeting Facebook pages, but they are listening in on the messages that we talk. They are listening in on the calls that we make. They are listening in on everything. But the major aim that these people were targeting is not just to hack pages, but is to get information that they could use to blackmail people. That is why you saw back then they would come up with trumped up like information that is concocted, and they would say that, oh, Bobi Wine killed so and so, Bobi Wine did this and that, and so on and so forth. They concoct information because whenever they do their espionage, there is nothing that they find. Everything that People Power does, everything that NUP does, everything that Honorable Kyagulanyi does is all done in broad daylight. It is no secret that Bobi Wine wants to take Museveni out through an election. It is no secret that People Power supporters, they want Museveni out of power. It is no secret. Unless if at all these people were rebels, if we were out there in the bush and maybe we were fighting and trying to overthrow the government through military means, then that would be different. Then you would need such kind of espionage. But the government is wasting a lot of money buying these technologies, employing these so-called Huawei officials or Huawei technicians to help it crack into people's phones and delete Facebook pages. So if a mere Facebook page can actually make Museveni sleepless at night, what does that mean? It is now no longer a contestation of ideas. It is a contestation on who, it is now Museveni's contestation. It is like he's contesting on which tactic can work best for me to wipe out People Power from the face of Uganda and from the face of the earth. That is what it is. He's contesting against his own ideas on how to take People Power out. Every lad these days is now going bare knuckle against Bobi Wine, calling him names, attacking the wife, and so on and so forth. Social media has made him run haywire, berserk, and all this kind of thing. In the beginning, for those of you who don't know, 2.5 years ago, they said People Power was no longer on ground. People Power wasn't on ground. No one was on ground supporting People Power. People Power didn't have any. No one knew it on ground. They were just shouting on social media. You know what happened this year when we started the campaigns legally? When they saw what happened in northern Uganda, they realized, oh my God, it is there on ground. So what should we do? Oh, we thought it wasn't there. So you gave me bad intel. You have to be fired. Go. Then they realized that the truth is People Power was on ground and social media. Because Museveni thought he had the ground and he thought that Bobi Wine had the media, social media. But then he realized that by the time he realized, he had already lost the ground as well as social media. And that is why he's very furious. And unfortunately, it has all come at a I think it's very late to the party. For us, we already knew what we were doing. The people on social media already knew. And they know the game so well that if you close one page, another one will prop up. If you close one account, another one will prop up. And people are also finding means on how to beat your hacking. Because let me tell you, this sort of hacking is not done by just your regular Joe seated in a basement there or somewhere. No. This is the Uganda police in conjunction with Huawei, in conjunction with Museveni, who is the head supervisor, as well as CMY, ISO, and all government agencies, going after a mere Facebook page that doesn't even have 1 million followers. So just imagine if you had 1 million followers, what would happen? Never underestimate the power of social media. Do not, in this day and age, if anyone is serious, anything that you are trying to address, anything that you're trying to campaign for, it is always and always should be social media. Now, the fact that, because most people might say, oh, why Uganda? Yeah, Huawei has also worked with the Zambian government in order to access phones and Facebook pages. Actually, that issue of deleting Facebook pages now, that hasn't only started in Uganda, but even in Zambia, it happened with Huawei, with the help of Huawei. The government of Zambia, according to the Wall Street Journal, solicited the help of Huawei to hack and access people's phones and Facebook pages team of opposition bloggers running pro-opposition news sites, which had repeatedly criticized President Edward Lungu. The senior security officials identified by name, two Huawei experts based in cyber surveillance unit in the offices of Zambia's telecom regulator, who pinpointed the bloggers' locations and were in constant contact with police units deployed to arrest them in the northwestern city of Solowezi. So, I think that is the reason as to why now the US is very, very anti-Museveni, especially with the way Museveni is dealing and doing such kind of things that are very risky for the security of Ugandans, as well as for the security of the region. And trust me, where things are going, of course, they are not so good at all. But for the owners of these pages, just take a few precaution measures. For me, what I realized is these people must have installed some sort of a malware or a spyware in your phones or in the gadgets. What we have to do is, number one, format the gadgets completely. Also, format the phones completely. Do not click on any links you do not understand or you are not sure of. Just do not click on any pictures or videos, because whenever you click, you don't know what you're downloading on your phone, especially for the next 3 weeks. So what you should do, because whenever they close the page and you open up a new one, the malware is still in your phone. So that malware has to be deleted in certain way, whereby you have to just format the phone or buy a new phone and open up a new page, because they are targeting pro-opposition or pro-NUP or pro-Bobi Wine pages all over the internet. I always thought that Museveni would go after the intellectuals that are against him, the people who are writing the articles that are against him, those so-called intellectuals. But I'm really surprised that he's even going after regular people like us, going after regular platforms like Map Media, regular platforms like Choto TV, Fred Dumbi, and so on and so forth. There are so many other platforms he could go after. Why doesn't he go after those ones? So I'm just surprised. After failing with tear gas, after failing with buying off supporters, arrests, intimidation, killings, and all this kind of thing, the best of the best tool they have right now is hacking, thinking that if they wipe them all off, then people will stop supporting Bobi Wine. I just don't understand the logic as to why the government would be very much interested in hacking. Okay, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Because even when you hack these pages, people will go and follow a new page. Ghetto TV, when it was hacked in the very first time and deleted off the face of the internet, they opened up a new page a few days later, and the same page had over 100,000 followers in just one day. So just imagine. So these people are not going to stop. But as well, we also should know that everyone is prone to hacking. Anyone can be hacked. That's the truth. Anyone can be hacked. But what we can do is just to set up a few measures, two-factor authentications and passwords and things of that sort, just to delay or make it a bit difficult for the hackers to get into our profiles and our accounts and news sites, whereby it can buy us more time to do our activism and things of that sort. All right, guys, thank you very much for listening to me, and I'll be coming back soon talking about Operation Fungua Macho, something of that sort, Operation Fungua Macho, that was there, I think, in 2012, that was aimed at targeting opposition politicians, and how the government used it to target people and take their data and spy on them and things of that sort. And by then they used the UK company, as well as I think some Italian company. So thank you very much. Have a blessed day. Subscribe to the channel, and bye bye.